So ladies and gents, I get so many questions on how someone can build a social media marketing agency while they're still in high school. Now, I actually started my agency when I was 16 and I was still in school. And let's just take it back 4 years at this point. Now, I've told my story of how I got into agency life. I kind of fumbled into it. I didn't know that, what I was doing was SMMA, or I didn't know that I had an agency. The way that I viewed it was just I was doing services for business, and in return, they would pay me a monthly fee. So I signed my first client. It was content creation, editing, social media management, and distribution for $380 a month. And that was August of 2016. It was actually my old football club. Now, once I signed that client, it kind of opened up the floodgates for me. Once again, I'd say from that point on until March of, or probably April of 2017, so for a good 8 months or so, I still had no idea that this was SMMA, or the thing is we don't understand that we're in this little bubble, this tiny little bubble. But the wider world doesn't know what SMMA is, or doesn't understand that having an agency can be lucrative unless it's this full scale, full service agency. And then even then they think that they're the ones making money, not realizing that profit wise, most of them are hurting. So anyways, my point is, once I got that first client, I was like, yo, I should probably get some more clients like this. Once again, it wasn't oh, I'm gonna get SMMA retainers, or I'm gonna sign a fish or a shark or a whale. Most of you guys should be familiar with the GrowYourAgency rank tier. In fact, I'll put it somewhere on the screen now. But anyways, my point is, for me, it was just all right, cool. Let me start reaching out to other businesses, start sending proposals, which is what I used to do back in the day. Somewhere around my face, I'll put a link to a video where I actually reviewed a bunch of my old proposals back in 2016. You can watch that, it's very, very entertaining. But anyways, once I signed that first client, it opened my mind, and it opened the gateway to building a successful agency. So while I was in school, and at my school, we were allowed laptops, because this was basically going into the last 2 years of school. So yeah, we were allowed laptops in order to type our notes. And for all the students, that was amazing. But for me, that was especially amazing, because that meant that I could do literally no schoolwork in school, or just the right amount, so that I would get punished, but nothing super bad. So while I was in class, I was lead sourcing, I was taking notes, I was typing up proposals, I was reaching out to clients, following up with clients. And even if I didn't have client work or outreach, I would be reading in school. I can't tell you the amount of times I would be in class and I would have my laptop in front of me pretending to type. Obviously from the teacher's side, they're seeing my laptop, but I would have my Kindle placed right there, and I'd just be reading my Kindle in class. Seriously, it would happen probably 2 or 3 times a week that a teacher would just finally catch me out and see that, yeah, I wasn't doing schoolwork. I was reading my book or doing my own work and stuff like that. But most of the teachers and basically everyone in my school knew that I wasn't doing schoolwork. I had my own business on the side, or a tiny infancy of a business. And then when it came to my lunches, I didn't spend lunches hanging out with other people. I spent my lunches reading alone. Or the infamous story of, I used to meditate in my school bathrooms, because I knew that if I meditate in the morning, I'd be too tired, because I would never get more than 3-4 hours of sleep, and I couldn't meditate when I got back from school, because once again, I'd be too tired. And at night, I would definitely be too tired, so I'd probably fall asleep. And I learned that the hard way, trying to meditate a few times later at night, and then just literally passing out. So kind of the point in which I knew that I definitely wouldn't fall asleep would be while I was in school. So I would go to school bathrooms, and I would try to find the one that was the least used. And yeah, I would just meditate in the school bathrooms. So I would do all of that, and then when I got home from school, it was straight to work. Once again, finding more leads, reaching out to leads, following up with leads. At that point now, doing client work, because I had one client at that point. And then I would do all of that up until around 8 o'clock, and then 8 o'clock I would go to the gym. So from 8 p.m. to 9:30 I would be in the gym. I would come home, shower, be ready for 10:15, 10:30ish, and then from 10:30 until 2 or 3 o'clock I would be up once again doing more work, trying to learn, trying to work on my editing skills, my videography skills, anything that could help my service delivery. And then yeah, I would go to bed, and then I'd wake up at 7 o'clock or something, and rinse and repeat all over again. Now, I do not recommend you follow that schedule whatsoever. Trust me, guys, get your sleep. Even at this point, I laugh at people who are like, oh, I only need 4 or 5 hours of sleep. I run 3 businesses, very successful businesses, as well as multiple other streams of income outside of that, which, by the way, is not a flex. You shouldn't do that either. It is best to just have one business. It's just the way that life has panned out. It's not ideal to have these multiple businesses. Just have one and focus on that. So that's another thing. Don't look at that and be like, all right, awesome, I'm gonna have multiple businesses. So back to my point, even at this stage in my life, I get 9 hours of sleep, and that shocks people. lowest I'll do is 7.5. Look, if something comes up for whatever reason, then in rare cases I might end up getting 6 hours, but I would say for the most part I get 9 hours every single night, and I just don't understand why you wouldn't. Like, to me there's nothing that's more higher ROI in terms of your energy, your cognitive ability, etc, etc. So yeah, ladies and gents, get your sleep. If you are trying to build an agency on the side, then maybe, you know, you can go down to 7.5, maybe 7 hours, but never, ever, ever slip below like 6.5 hours. Honestly, it's just not good for you. Plus, here's the way that I see it. If you are going to school, like let's say you go to school, let's say your school's from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or whatever, and immediately once you get home, you just do work on your agency for 3 to 4 hours. So from 5 until like 8:30, 9:30, maybe 10, you know, depending on, obviously, I'm assuming you have to have dinner with your family. And by 10 o'clock, you've gotten a solid 3-4 hours in of lead sourcing, reaching out to clients. And at the beginning, that's the main thing that matters. So you can do that until 10 o'clock, from 10 until like 12, do your schoolwork, because, well, I was gonna say something, but I guess it depends on what you want from life. Like, I knew from the age of 14, I was gonna be an entrepreneur. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, I just knew. And for any of you guys who just know you're gonna be an entrepreneur and you know that you don't wanna be a doctor, or lawyer, or this or that, just do the least important thing at the end of the day. So just do your schoolwork between like 10 p.m., 12, go to bed, wake up at 7:30, rinse and repeat. You know, and you've still got a solid 3-4 hour workday in of being an agency owner and prospecting and getting clients. And honestly, if you are strict and you don't fuck around in terms of like, you're like, oh, I need to watch this YouTube video to learn, or I need to do this or that. If you're on a time crunch, the most important thing is 3 to 4 hours a day of lead sourcing and reaching out to clients. And that is the only thing that should matter. Especially because if you are in school, or if you're in college, or if you have a full-time job, I recommend that you outsource the service delivery to a contractor. You know, it's so funny, like 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, I started talking about contractor arbitrage. I started talking about the Expedia business model, and everyone was like, no, you can't do that, blah, blah. Like, why would a contractor work for you for $600 per month per client when, you know, you're charging the client $2,000 or $1,500 a month or $4,000 a month? You know, and now 2.5 years later, everyone's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that actually works. And that is the best way to do it, because as a business owner in general, you want to be working on the business, not in the business. But especially if you only have 2 or 3 or 4 hours a day to work on your agency and start building a successful agency, that your time is so valuable, so important, that you don't want to be doing the service delivery. So ladies and gents, that's the main thing that I focused on. And I will say it took me another 6 months to get a client. So that's the other thing, is don't expect that you're gonna get a client. You might, and a lot of people do. Don't go into it with the expectation that you'll get a client after 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. For me, from my first client to my second client, it took me 6 months. There's a student interview I have either on the main or second channel. Once again, if you can just pop it on the screen somewhere here, Joshua Sparks, who actually took 18 months to get a client, 18 months. And then after getting that first client, within 45 days, I believe it was, he was making $7,000 to $8,000 a month. So it took him 18 months to get one client, and then 30 to 45 days to hit $7,000 to $8,000 per month from his agency. So ladies and gents, that was my schedule back then when I was 16, and I was, once again, just trying to build an agency while I was still in school. Now, I actually got to a point where I had 3 active clients, one for 1,900 pounds a month, one for 1,500 pounds. Actually, wait, no, that's like 4. Yeah, wait, no, never mind, 3 clients. So I got to a point where I had 3 active clients, so 1,900 pounds a month, so $2,500 a month. 1,500 pounds a month, so basically around $2,000 a month. So $2,500 a month, $2,000 a month, and then the other one was right around $1,200 a month, 800 pounds a month. So that's 4,500 plus 1,200, $5,700 a month I was making when I dropped out of school. Now, as many of you guys know, when I was 17, I dropped out of school. I'm a 17-year-old high school dropout. Because like, there's so many things that went into that decision. I had been making money for myself from the age of 16. I had to support my mom. I knew that I wasn't going to university, because it's not like I had, you know, parents to pay for it. And I sure as hell wasn't gonna take on student debt myself. And plus, I just knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur from the age of like, honestly, I think 12 or 13 even. But I do not recommend that you drop out of school. Like, genuinely, I don't think there's anyone watching this where I would recommend that you drop out of school, because like, honestly, unless you're in a situation where I was, where I had to take care of my mom and I had to take care of my family and I had to be the breadwinner, I just don't understand any reason why you wouldn't get a high school degree. Because here's the thing, later on in life, realistically, will I ever, but let's say that 1% chance that I ever want to go back to college, you know, if I had a high school degree, I could have the option to, you know, obviously, especially like back in 2017 and 2018, I used to say, you know, high school dropout. I'm a 17-year-old high school dropout. I'm Iman, I'm a 17-year-old, 20-year-old high school dropout. Like, I used to sensationalize it quite a bit. You know, I used to be like, oh, I'm a high school dropout.
I'm a 17-year-old high school dropout.
Because once again, it was a big part of my story, and it was a big almost shock factor. But guys, like, it's not a cool thing to be a high school dropout. Like, I don't wear with a badge of honor. I'm a high school dropout.
I'm a 17-year-old high school dropout.
My mom never finished school. Like, I come from a lineage of being uneducated in the formal sense. And you know, you can watch as many rap videos as you want and go, you know, fuck school and this, but like at the end of the day, guys, like in my opinion, I just think everyone should finish high school. Like, so my best recommendation to you is please finish high school, unless there really are those of you that just generally, you have to put food on the table, you have to take care of your family, whatever it may be. You know, for most of you, I recommend just finish high school. You know, you don't have to go to college, but just finish high school. And while you're building your agency in high school, you need to remember a couple things. And I think there's so many people who are confused how I managed to build an agency and how I managed to read a book a week and meditate and still go to the gym 6 times a week and do all this stuff while I was still in high school. And all those were basically surrounding the idea of sacrifice. You will have to sacrifice gaming, TV, Netflix, just kind of fucking around doing nothing with your spare time. Like, I had no PlayStation X, like I had no console. I didn't watch TV. I didn't watch Netflix. I didn't even have a Netflix subscription until like end of 2018. So any of just that passive watching activity, you're probably gonna have to sacrifice YouTube as well. There's so many guys who watch like just really stupid vlogs or stupid like talk shows or I don't know, whatever, like, or maybe gaming channel, or just cut it out. Like, what really brings you more pleasure? Watching some stupid gaming channel, or getting to the point where if you're in high school, by the time everyone else is graduating college and you know, all those people who told you you were an idiot for not going to college and this and that, by that time you're already making probably multi-6 figures a year at that point, because you've run your agency for 3-4 years. And I've never seen an agency owner pass the 2-3 year precipice, the 2-3 year mark, that makes less than 6 figures a year, because it's just, you get to a point where you just get so solid. And that's the thing with a service-based business. There's no entropy to it. It's just every year it just keeps getting better and better. You never see a lawyer who's less in demand at 60 than he was at 40. And that's because, as I said, when you're a service-based business, between the referrals, between all the clients you serve, but between all the results you get, every year your results just keep compounding and compounding. Anyways, a little bit of a tangent. So that's the first thing. The next thing you're gonna have to sacrifice is time with friends. You know, no more like going to your buddies on Friday to get stoned or get drunk and, you know, play some video games or whatever. You know, no more coffee catch-ups. You can do that if you want once you have a successful agency, or you can do that if you want, if you're just gonna go to college and, you know, waste away a couple years of your life. That's totally cool. But if you have the responsibility of school and then you also have the responsibility of trying to build a successful agency, you just don't have the time. So I remember vividly, there was just a year from kind of the point in which I dropped out of school where I just didn't see any of my friends. Like, I'm talking best friends, close friends, people who lived 10 minutes from, I just didn't see them. And you know, most of them understood. There was some tension with some of them because they were like, can you really not see me for 20 or 30 minutes? And to be honest, I probably could have. I just was in such a zone. But all right, cool. I sacrificed a year, entirely a year of my social life, to the point now where my best friends who were there for me when I had nothing, for their birthdays, I don't take them to Nando's or the cinemas and pay for it. No. I'll literally drop 3-4 grand on an all expenses trip around the world for their birthdays, because you can do that once you actually sacrifice long nights, long weeks, long months, long years, where you put everything into building this thing, building this baby of yours, to the point where later down the line, you will reap the benefits, you will reap the rewards of doing so. The next thing you're gonna have to sacrifice is shit food, any sort of drinking. If any of you guys smoke pot, like anything that's holding you back. Look, you just gotta look at yourself like a machine. You gotta look at yourself like a car. You're not gonna have a car firing in all cylinders with really shit fuel in it. As cliche as that saying is, it's so true. And the other thing is, when you eat shit food, it fucks up your gut microbiome. And people don't understand the way that your gut and your mind interact with each other. So you're eating shit food, it's slowing you down, you're feeling lethargic, and then also it's sending negative emotions into your brain because your entire microbiome is effed up. Now you're starting to have negative thoughts. Now you're starting to have thoughts of, should I quit? This is stupid. Maybe I shouldn't do this, blah, blah, etc., etc. And basically it's this feedback loop that starts happening. And then you can start going into stuff like the candida, and how candida literally forces you to eat more sugary foods and all this crap. Look, you're gonna have to sacrifice the shit food, the alcohol, the pot, whatever your vices are. You're gonna have to sacrifice those. There's pretty much most stuff in your life you're gonna have to sacrifice. The only thing that you cannot sacrifice, and I really, really mean this, is sleep. Please, please, please trust me. Sleep is so important. Do not sacrifice it, maybe tone it down, but once again, make sure that those hours that you do have are high impact. So ladies and gentlemen, hopefully this has given you a bit of context as to the way that I viewed building an agency while still in high school, the way that I navigated it, what I did to maximize the amount of time I had to focus on my agency, but also reading a book a week, also learning, also working on my craft, etc., etc. And hopefully this has given you guys some very practical tips on how to do the same. Now, you'll notice that I'm wearing an article from the Gadzhi clothing. This is actually a old prototype. That's why it doesn't have the raised front, but this is the OG hoodie, which is why I still wear it. Anyways, if you want to be drawn into the giveaway, you can check in the comment section below. There'll be a pin post. I would have pinned who the winner was from last video's giveaway. And if you want to be in with winning an article sent out to you, shipping paid on our end, all that good stuff, go ahead and drop a comment down below and make sure you're subscribed and you turn on post notifications, because I only pick people who comment within the first 2 to 3 hours of a video going up. And ladies and gents, if you want some guidance and support in building your agency, and if you want to find out a little bit more about how we help some of our students who are still in high school, still in college, still have jobs, navigate having their agencies, build up their agencies to the point where they don't need to go to college, they can quit their jobs, etc., etc. There's a link down below. Go ahead and book in a call with Caden, who's our student integration manager here at Grow Your Agency. You can ask him any final questions about the program, how we get our students such incredible results, etc., etc. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.